What if a fear you have today was never truly yours to begin with? What if it was taught to you? In 1920, two psychologists set out to prove that fear could be created in the human mind. That fear isn't always something we're born with. It can be learned. And to prove it, they ran one of the most controversial experiments in psychology. This is the story of little Albert. In the early 1900s, psychology was changing. A new approach called behaviorism was gaining attention. Behaviorists believed that human behavior could be explained by learning from the environment rather than hidden thoughts or unconscious forces. One of the leading voices of this movement was John B. Watson. Watson believed something bold, that emotions like fear could be conditioned, meaning they could be learned through experience. To test this idea, Watson worked with his graduate student Rosalie Rayner. Their subject was a baby boy, about 9 months old, who became known in the study by a nickname Little Albert. Before the real experiment began, the researchers wanted to see what Albert was naturally afraid of. They placed several objects in front of him: a white rat, a rabbit, a dog, a monkey, even strange masks and cotton wool. Albert showed curiosity. He touched them and played with them. He didn't seem afraid, but there was one thing that did startle him. Behind Albert, the researchers struck a steel bar with a hammer, producing a sudden loud noise. Albert immediately cried. This reaction was expected. Babies naturally react to loud sounds. Watson saw this as the perfect starting point. Now the real test began. The researchers placed the white rat near Albert again. As Albert reached out to touch it, bang! The steel bar was struck behind him. Albert jumped and cried. They repeated this pairing several times. Rat appears. Loud noise. Albert cries. Eventually, something important happened. The rat was placed in front of Albert again. This time, there was no loud noise, but Albert still cried and tried to crawl away. His brain had learned something. The once harmless rat had become something frightening. But Watson and Rayner wanted to know something more. Would Albert only fear the rat, or would the fear spread to similar things? So they showed him other furry objects: a rabbit, a small dog, a fur coat, and even a Santa Claus mask with a cotton beard. Albert became distressed by many of them. His fear had generalized. The reaction he learned from the rat had spread to other soft, furry objects. Not long after the experiment ended, Albert left the hospital with his mother. The researchers never attempted to remove the fear they had created. Today, psychologists widely criticize the experiment. Modern research ethics, like those enforced by the American Psychological Association, would never allow researchers to intentionally frighten a child in this way. Yet despite the controversy, the experiment became one of the most famous in psychology, because it showed something powerful about the human mind. Some fears are not born with us. They can be learned through experience, and that raises an uncomfortable question. If a baby can learn fear from just a few experiences, then think about the fears we carry today. How many of them were quietly learned somewhere along the way? And if fear can be learned, can it also be unlearned?